to informative exchange between the candidates and the committee members. We will allow candidates to introduce themselves, and then we will try to entertain some questions and answers. Before we start, inshallah, the event, I just would like to make dua, which is supplication to the Lord, to God, to help us and to guide us and to open our hearts and minds and to make this event successful and beneficial to all of us. Ameen. Thank you very much.
So I would ask everybody if they are able to stand for the national anthem. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you very much. So we as Canadians, we as Muslim Canadians, like our fellow Canadians, we're seeking a strong, unified, inclusive, secure, peace-loving nation to raise our children and our coming generations in. We want a Canada that all of our children and our grandchildren, irrespective of race, religion, or culture, will be proud to serve, to protect, and to stand on guard for. Muslims across Canada are very grateful for the ability to practice their faith peacefully in this wonderful country. And we are fully aware and appreciate that these rights and freedoms that we enjoy in this wonderful country are not always found in many so-called Muslim countries around the world. However, here in Canada, over the past decade or so, we as Muslims are feeling particularly impacted by polarizing and antagonistic government policies. We feel it's our responsibilities as voting Canadians to urge the public to speak up and ask our elected representatives and candidates for election what they will do to uphold the basic human rights and freedoms guaranteed to all Canadians. We, as many other fellow Canadians, are increasingly alarmed to see these rights and freedoms gradually becoming eroded and only being afforded to some and not all Canadians. And where different classes of Canadians are being enacted into our legal system. Different tiers of Canadians. This is not the Canada I was born and raised in. I was born here in Hamilton and raised. We stand with all Canadians and we seek a Canada where our children are engaged and welcomed in the community and feel included rather than excluded. Where a Muslim woman is given the right to wear whatever she wishes rather than being dictated what she should wear and what she should not wear by her government. It is in this spirit that the Muslim Association of Hamilton is showcasing our candidates tonight so that all the citizens and the Hamilton Muslim community here can make informed choices and decisions. Elections should be active exercises in democracy. They shouldn't be passive exercises. We must confront and challenge our candidates and ask them all the tough questions to show us why it is they are seeking the job as our elected representative. Muslims across Southern Ontario, and indeed across Canada, are very cognizant and energized about this year's elections. and it's expected that we are all going to come out in large numbers on October the 19th. Moving forward, whichever of these candidates are elected to represent our community, we ask each one of you to listen carefully to what the Muslim community of Hamilton is asking, what we want, and what we are saying to you. And please take our wishes and hopes back with you to Ottawa. Muslim Association of Hamilton, as a CRA registered charitable organization, we can't endorse any one particular party. Tonight's meeting is purely for informational purposes and to help the community make informed choices when they exercise their right to vote. Tonight's event will be recorded and will be made available on YouTube for those who were not able to make it tonight. I will tell you that was one of the three organizers who developed tonight's program. We wanted to test you guys. Okay. So there's two tests. One test was the invite. We invited all 50, I think there's like 16 or candidates from the main parties across Hamilton of the 5 ridings. We wanted to see who responded. And then the second question, the second part of the test is your answer tonight. We're going to give you 3 minutes, each candidate, to answer the question, first to introduce yourself and to tell the Muslim community why Canadian Muslims should support you and your party. So we have had confirmed about 14 of the 16 as of this morning. David Sweet decided this morning, that he would make himself available. And Diane Bubanko, I don't know if she's here. She was also talking about coming. She's not here yet. I think they might be coming a little later. So without any further ado, just want to give you some house rules. So as I said, each candidate is going to be 3 minutes to introduce themselves and to answer that question. And I would ask that while each candidate is speaking, other candidates are please asked to be courteous and not to talk or interrupt. While a candidate is speaking, we would also ask everybody else in the room to please be courteous and not talk or interrupt. And that anybody who doesn't wish to respect these rules would be courteously asked to remove themselves. Okay, so we're going to be going by writing. Our timekeeper is Azim Patel. We'll start with Hamilton Centre. So the Conservative representative is Jonathan Rosen-Sam. Well, please welcome Jonathan.
Just pick it up. Let's make sure it doesn't happen to me either. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Khan and the Omar Mosque, for coming here and speaking to all of you. It's quite a pleasure to visit you in your fine establishment. Tonight, I'm asking for your support to be elected as a Conservative Member of Parliament for the riding of Hamilton Centre. Like many of you here, I first started my life in Canada as an immigrant. My father and I arrived here in 1999 as permanent residents without a secure job, house, and with most of our family still in the old country. I was sent to public high school, where they promptly placed me in a remedial ESL class because of my atrocious accent. Clearly, it's still here. My father, in the meantime, spent many hours searching for a job in Canada. And the first complaint was always that not enough Canadian experience. Of course, there was no Canadian experience. He didn't live in Canada. But he persisted. We live in a small basement apartment in North Toronto, owned by a lovely family who themselves came to Canada 10 years beforehand. Life got better over time, through sweat, determination, and hard work. After a few months, my father did find employment. It was good. It was a good job, and it allowed myself, my brothers, my sisters, and my mother to come to Canada and live with us in St. Catharines in a new house that we were able to purchase. Together as a family in this new land, we were able to support each other while each of us completed their respective university degrees. By 2009, I was lucky to have completed a degree in economics from Brock and later a law degree from the University of Windsor, and on my way to the federal court in Ottawa for a clerkship. In 2010, my wife and I settled in Hamilton, where I started my legal career as a commercial litigator. That's what I've been doing ever since. But the reason I'm here is, again, to tell you why you should vote for me. I can tell it as a new Canadian, I know it's not enough for the government to simply attract immigrants. The government must also ensure that every newcomer that wants a job can get a job in their chosen field of work. As a conservative, I'm proud of our pledge to keep Canada working by keeping taxes low and maintaining balanced budgets. I'm proud of our pro-immigration policies, like the super visas and express entry program, and our focus on improving foreign credential recognition so that we can put everyone's talents to good use. Friends, that's why I'm proud to be the candidate for the Conservative Party in Hamilton Centre. Thank you for your time. I look forward to answering your questions in person.
Ann Tenier. Speaking after Ann will be Uta.
Good evening, everybody. I do want to forewarn, I'm not feeling the best. I can't compete with Mr. Christopherson this
Nobody
evening.
can most of the time. I've competed for years.
My name is Ann Tenier, and I'm your Liberal candidate in Hamilton Centre. Just a little bit of background about me. I was born in a northern Quebec pulp and paper town where my father was a proud union man for 46 years. My parents met while my father was in England serving in the Royal Canadian Army during the Second World War. My mother was a cleaning lady before meeting my father and became a war bride, moving to a strange new country called Canada. I worked, got student loans to put myself through university because my parents couldn't afford to pay for my education. I've had a 30-year career as an engineer in industry, fixing environmental problems and addressing community concerns. I was the local lead in bringing more than $600 million in investment and more than 1,000 jobs to Hamilton for Maple Leaf Foods' new meat plant and the new Canada Bread bakery, just a few blocks from here, as many of you will likely know. I've been the link between Maple Leaf and charitable organizations, resulting in close to $200,000 in local donations. $200,000, that is. I'm active in arts, environmental, and other community organizations. My husband and I have made Hamilton our home since 2001, first in Waterdown and now on Markland Street in downtown Hamilton. Our daughter, her husband, and our 3 grandchildren live in Ottawa. Now, my relationship with the local Muslim community began just about exactly 5 years ago when my good friend Zak Ahmed arranged for an evening of political discussion with 7 community leaders, several of whom are here this evening. And it was a wide-ranging discussion with lots of debate and give and take, which is the hallmark of a good debate. And since then, I've had the opportunity to attend many events here and at the downtown mosque, and each time I was received with warmth and grace and have become good friends with several members of the community. I was honored to attend the first prayers at the new downtown mosque at the end of Ramadan, and have been proud to contribute to the mosque in a small way. Here on the mountain, it's kind of an unusual thing, did reach out to the mosque for assistance while our Maple Leaf Foods plant was being built, and we were able to work out a good neighbor plan that allowed the company to use your parking lot so we could shuttle employees back and forth during construction. And that's what neighbors are about, helping neighbors helping neighbors. I've attended multi-faith discussions and sought out advice from friends in the Muslim community to better understand Islam. And I believe that the Liberal Party offers a plan for real change, and real change that will address the issues that I've heard from you over the past 9 months. Thank you.
apologies to Dave Christopherson. I'm putting Uta Schmidt-Jones first. Is that okay? Is Uta here? Yes. I hope I said your name right.
You did really well.
Thank you very much. Uta Schmidt-Jones, Green Party. Please welcome.
Thank you for welcoming us. Our world is changing rapidly. I believe that the greatest threat human beings currently face is not terrorism, but climate change. Climate change will impact us globally through drought, food insecurity, political unrest, and natural disasters. We must make cooperative decisions as Canadians and as citizens of the world. As the human refugee population migrates away from countries experiencing food insecurity and political violence, we have a social responsibility to open Canada to as many refugees as we can. We must elect leaders who think beyond individual economic gratification and recognize that providing a haven to refugees is a process that requires diligence and respect, and it will bring greater economic prosperity to our country. Refugees will bring innovation and diversity of experience that can only enhance Canadian quality of life. The Green Party's policies address all Canadians, with a national housing policy to end homelessness, a national food policy to ensure that every family has access to healthy food, and measures to eliminate poverty, address inequality, and provide free post-secondary education. These policies will be available to everyone, helping to reduce crime rates, creating safer communities, and addressing the social pressures that intolerance exacerbates. In the Middle East, the Green Party will redirect Canada's military efforts back to peacekeeping, which will complement our compassionate approach to refugees and immigration and make things better for your community here as well as for your friends and family in other parts of the world. I want my vote to count. I want to be able to vote for the party that represents ideals that I hold dear, a Canada that believes all Canadians have value. Many of us do not have to go very far back in our family histories to see that immigration is how we got to Canada. My parents immigrated from Germany in 1967 with an infant me in their arms. Dad came because he had a trade as a tool and die maker that was much sought after. He and my mother faced prejudice because of their country of origin. And I remember the hurtful and racist remarks that were directed to me as a child growing up in a rural community school, remarks about a war and a hatred that had nothing to do with me and my family. We live in a different time now where communication flies fast and careless words have a devastating impact. We need to elect MPs, 20 seconds, who will lead by example, who support immigration and recognize skills transfer of professional credentials of those coming to Canada for the first time. I believe that the Green Party of Canada offers solutions to our national challenges, and I know that our elected MPs will work on an international level with all world leaders to deal with global issues like climate change and peacekeeping. Can I finish the sentence? Thank you. Respectfully, with integrity, and with
Nothing's going to
compassion.
happen if you don't.
Thank you so much for inviting us. My name is David Christopherson, and like Dr. Khan, I was born and raised here in Hamilton. In 1985, I ran and was elected to Hamilton City Council, where I served as the alderman for Ward 4 and as the regional councillor for Ward 4. I served there for 5 years. I was re-elected in 1988, and in 1990 I stood for office for the member MPP for Hamilton Centre provincially. I was elected, was part of the government that formed in 1990. During that time, I served as the Solicitor General of Ontario and the Minister of Correctional Services. During my further 13 years at Queen's Park, I was also elected Deputy Speaker of the Ontario Legislature and served as a House Leader to the Third Party. In 2003, I ran for Mayor and lost. In 2004, I ran for the House of Commons and won. And I've now concluded my 4th term, and I am seeking my 5th term in the House of Commons. At the time that we that the House rose, I was chair of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, which is the committee that the Auditor General reports to, and it's considered to be the premier oversight committee in terms of watching as a watchdog of government spending. And during my last term, I've been serving as a deputy leader of the official opposition. Each of us tonight as NDPers will bring a different piece of our policy forward to share with you. I'll begin things by tackling C-51. As you know, this is one of the biggest issues in this campaign, and I was very proud to be part of the New Democratic Caucus that stood up 100% to oppose this bill.
Yes.
Certainly security is important, and as a former Solicitor General of Ontario, where I was responsible for all the policing in Ontario, security certainly for me personally is very close to my heart. But the fact is C-51 goes beyond anything that we accept in a democracy. Too many of our human rights are at stake. Too many rights are being taken away under that bill, and we know that there are all kinds of innocent Canadians that could find themselves captured by this legislation, and with electronic equipment, who knows what part of your life they'll be into. If we form the government on the end of October the 19th, we will repeal in its entirety all of Good thing I got that out when I did. Thank you. There are a lot of problems with C-51, but it sounds to me like I don't need to go into the details. What you need to know is that you can count on the NDP. We were there when they brought in the War Measures Act, and it was not popular to oppose it. We did. When it comes to human rights, the NDP is prepared to stand up for those rights 10 times out of 10.
I could ask people, this is the only entrance, if I could ask people to please do come in, and then let people enter the hall. Please clear the entrance. We're moving over to Hamilton East, Stoney Creek now, and I understand Diane Bubanko is here. Diane? Diane Bubanko, the Conservative, to represent the Conservatives. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Bob Bertina, if I could, he's running for Liberal.
Assalamu alaikum. It's so nice to be here again. I've been here on so many occasions as the mayor and always have been treated so well, and I really appreciate that. I was the councillor downtown and worked very hard, because part of the question is, why should you consider voting for me in terms of the Muslim community? And I worked very hard and was very proud when the new downtown mosque opened, because that was a long and difficult procedure, but we got it done. I was originally a steel worker. I worked in Dofasco over 50 years ago, and then for 45 years I was a radio broadcaster. And 20 years I did the Tiger Cats and the Argos. And but as I traveled across the country in those 20 years doing football, I saw every city in Canada going up. Vancouver, Expo 86, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Hamilton was never going up. And so I got into politics, because politics to me is not a way of life, but it's a way of doing things. And we got a lot of things done. But as the mayor, I was so proud to come on many occasions, especially to the Islamic school, and speak to the young kids, and it sort of speaks to what my mission has been about Hamilton and now about Canada, as making people feel good about their city again, and making people now, we have to worry about making them feel good about their country again, which is a really terrible thing to have to do. But I remember saying to the kids at the Islamic school, how many kids have ever had an operation and you had an anesthetic? And a few hands went up. And I said, you know that anesthetic, we take claim, the so-called Western world, a couple of hundred years ago of doing that, but in the Muslim world, in the Arabic world, the anesthetic was used hundreds and hundreds of years ago. In fact, most of the things that we do in Western medicine, they'd already done it years ago. And the reason I was telling those kids that is they need to be proud of who they are, where they came from, and where they're going. So until the man says stop, I will tell you a couple of things that we're going to do. One is get rid of Bill C-24 immediately. That's the two citizenship. Very quickly, we're going to double the number of applications allowed for parents and grandparents to 10,000 each year, and we're going to restore processing times to levels that existed before Harper, so we will nearly double the budget for processing family class applications. We want to allow more Canadians to bring their children to Canada. A Liberal government will also change the rules that spouses immigrating to Canada receive immediate permanent residency, getting rid of the current 2-year waiting period. It's all out there. You can look it up in realchange.ca, but let me just close by saying, why should you consider voting for me? I love this city. I love this community that has grown up from almost nothing when I was a kid to a powerful, influential, and progressive group of young Canadians. So thank you very much.
And I said to myself, that's...
Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you. I'm Al Miles. I'm running for Hamilton Mountain for the Conservatives. I am married. I have 2 children. My 2 children are grown up and they're out of the house, which is good, but you miss them, and it's because they're family. And that's really where I see, one thing I see that we're similar in our communities is strong families. I appreciate your strong families, and I see a lot of our family values being the same. I see on TV the Conservatives and the Muslim community fighting for the same things, eventually and federally. So I would like to be assure you that we would be alike in these areas. And the other thing is I really would like to fight for jobs. The reason why I'm stressing jobs is because someday I hope to be a grandfather, and I don't want to have to go down to the States to see my grandchildren. And being that we're a strong family, we need to create more jobs. And right now in the Hamilton area, we do not have a lot of jobs. So we need hundreds of jobs. And I would like to fight for more jobs. And I think for our families, because if you don't have jobs, it's like you'll be in the same situation. The family will start to disperse because your kids will go further away and then you won't see your grandchildren. So I do work with children with mental health issues. So family and jobs and mental health issues are very high on my priority. And I would hope that you would consider voting for me. I would appreciate it.
Hamilton Mountain Liberal, Sean Burt.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm so nervous about that. And I put a lot of work into that, so I hope I didn't butcher it. I have some notes up here, but I'm just going to speak from the heart as it is anyway. I don't like going from the notes, so I'll just pop out here. My name is Sean Burt. I am your Hamilton Mountain Federal Liberal candidate. So hello, everyone. Just to give you a background on myself, first off, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you why you should vote for me. I hope to earn your vote as it is. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, my vision for our city and our party's vision as well. So just to let you know, born and raised here on Hamilton Mountain, lived here the past 43 years. It is my home, it's our home. Chose to raise my family here. I'm married, I'm a father, a lovely young daughter, brother and uncle. I guess though, I cover every spectrum of that. I'm just a regular guy, just like everyone here, really. But really, I'm a high school economics teacher as well, and I think I have some great policies myself, and I'm also very pleased to have a party that has strong economic policies. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you what's wrong with all the other parties' policies. I'll just go on with what's great about ours as well. Especially, I've got Mr. Christopherson staring right at me here in just a few minutes ago. Yeah, just I'll look around. So, quite frankly, just get right to it. Hamilton Mountain and Hamilton itself, I look at as I do Canada. Thank you. And I look at Canada and I look at Hamilton Mountain as an unfinished project. And it's something that I would like to have the opportunity to have a hand in rebuilding our home. I have myself, again, we're up here and we're supposed to beat our own chest and let you know how great we are. Quite frankly, I'm not going to go on about what I've done, but rather what I can do for you. I have a fierce determination to create real change. And it's not just about bringing in strong economic policies, but in my view, it's about doing the things that have irritated us all about politics over the years as well. And it's transparency, it's standing up and telling you as it is, honest, that's what I am. Not to say that anyone else isn't here, I'm just up here to talk about myself. So again, with fierce tenacity to make change.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, really? Wow. My party's going to be investing literally billions of dollars into Canadians as well, and quite frankly, the way I look at it is the Liberal Party is the only one, this policy in particular, will benefit Hamilton, and I will stand here to make sure that we get everything we deserve. My name is Sean Berg, and it will be an honor and a privilege to be your voice in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Up next is Hamilton Mountain NDP Scott Duval.
Yeah! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'm Scott Duval, and I'm the NDP candidate here on Hamilton Mountain. First, I want to thank the Muslim community, the Association of Hamilton, for hosting tonight's event and giving us all an opportunity to talk to you. Many of you know me from my work as a city councilor for Ward 7, a position I've held for 9 years. But I'm running now for federal office because I care deeply about my community, my city, and my country. Canada's municipalities have an infrastructure deficit of $172 billion, and it's rising every day. And I've seen firsthand what can happen to our communities when our federal government turns its back on them. Here in Hamilton, we have 6,000 people on the waiting list for affordable housing, and our social housing sector is at serious risk due to the elimination of federal funding. 400,000 good-paying manufacturing jobs have been lost under Stephen Harper, and he has done nothing to support the workers at U.S. Steel here in our own city in Hamilton. He's turned his back on them. Students leave school with an average debt of $26,000, and at the same time find it difficult to find a job. Never mind one of in their own chosen field, just finding a job. My friends, it's time to turn the ship around, and that's why I'm running in this election. An NDP government will reverse the damage done by Stephen Harper. In fact, here in Hamilton, the NDP is the only choice to defeat Stephen Harper. One of the things that make me proudest of our city is our diversity and our willingness to accept and respect one another. And our country was built by immigrants from all over the world, and we got to remember this. Okay, this is really getting to be a point where Bill C-51 has come in. We have to remember that the immigrants have made this a better place to live for us, but our current government has made this harder for you. The backlog of immigration applications, Canadians with a foreign education going to waste, and the NDP will restore $30 million to the foreign credential program that Stephen Harper has failed to deliver. Grants to develop national standards for credential recognition, and we will make family reunification a priority. We will create an immigration ombudsman to resolve complaints. And not so long ago, Canada had a reputation as a leader for peace. And development that made our reputation is now tarnished. Here at home, we see a government so desperate to be re-elected that it has resorted to the politics of fear, a strategy that divides rather than unites us. We want people to believe that accepting refugees means we are inviting terrorists into our country. That's what the Conservatives are trying to do. They have promised a tip line to promote their so-called Barbaric Cultural Practices Act, an act supported by the Liberals. It was before the House of Commons. And I want to talk about Bill C-51. I heard earlier that somebody said that Thomas Mulcair had abstained. It was Justin Trudeau. So I just want to leave it with that.
Hamilton Mountain, Green Party, Rahim Aman.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. That's how you do it, guys. It's not that hard. All right, my name is Rahim Aman. I'm happy to be standing before you. 22-year-old man, undergraduate university student at McMaster University. Very happy to see Azim, and he's getting the selfies going, or he's going to get me. I'm very happy to see Imam Hossam Hilal again, and the entire Muslim community, and my fellow candidates in this next election. The reason I'm running is because I've seen the low voter turnout. You've heard about Bill C-51, which we adamantly oppose with the Green Party. You've seen Bill C-24. What hasn't come up is that we're the only country to have taken ourselves off of the Kyoto Protocol. All right, on and on and on and on and on it goes. And there's a lot of things that we're not really seeing right now that have to be brought to attention. And so I took it upon myself to run a party with a party that has a vested interest in Canadians. Sometimes people have their misconceptions that the Green Party is a one policy party, but as soon as you take the chance to see about what our policies are, I'd be happy to speak about it with you or let you read the literature. There's over 200 pages of documentation I've read through cover to cover, among others, just going over some of the topics. So basically, what I feel that the Green Party can do for the Canadian Muslims, okay? First off, is we can stop looking at them as if they're pseudo-Canadians, as if they're second-class citizens. I hear people, it aggravates me, because I've fasted with Muslims during the holy month of Ramadan. I've read the Quran in its entirety over that month, and nothing in it makes it okay to have this rampant Islamophobia that I see today and that people see all the time. The debates that people have about burqas, as if it's any of their business, as if it's up for debate. As long as they're not innately breaking any laws within their spiritual belief, which there is nothing of the sort, then nothing is to be debated. And so, quite frankly, I'm disgusted with Canada and how in the way that it's going. I know it's a little stern, I'm sorry, but it's a wake-up call. And I had to wake up because the way that things are going, it's not looking pretty at all. And so I'm running in the Hamilton Mountain with the Green Party of Canada again. Our policies and our 6 key principles of the Green Party all around the world is ecological wisdom.
30 seconds.
Sorry, well, thank you, brother. Is ecological wisdom, caring for the environment, sustainability, nonviolence, okay, social justice, respect for diversity, right, which is a key here. And lastly, participatory democracy, getting our constituents, getting the Canadian citizens excited about politics again. It's not just jargon. The last voter turnout, I think, was 35% or something like that. Like, I'm getting the cue, so I'll wrap it up here. But if you're on the Hamilton Mountain, I'd love to speak with you with the Green Party, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're past the halfway mark. It's getting a little warm in here, so let's please, just bring your knees up like that. I don't want any people fainting, I don't want any medical skills today. Okay? So get those calves contracting. Okay. There are some seats along the back here, and I think along the back wall as well. So we're shifting gears over to Hamilton West, Ancaster, Dundas. I would invite Mr. Vincent Samuel from the Conservative Party to say a few words. I saw him here.
Yes.
There he is.
Yes.
Okay, it's not his way.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have a bad throat, so please excuse me. I've been speaking a lot today. My name is Vincent Samuel, and I'm your candidate for Hamilton West and Castle Dundas for the Conservative Party of Canada. I'm so pleased to be amongst friends. I see Major retired Ejaz Butt. Actually, Major and I were together in the army in the same unit back in Pakistan. So I was born and raised in Pakistan, and born in a very, very humble beginning. 4 siblings and parents living in a small home. But one thing my parents taught me was that hard work, faith, and education. And those 3 things which were important and integral part of my life, whether in Pakistan or here. I was honored to serve in the Pakistan Army, and in my younger days, I served on both the Kashmir and on the Torkham, the Afghanistan border, serving and protecting the people of Pakistan. And it's been an honor to serve, probably along with Major retired Ejaz Butt. Probably there are some other officers. I'll run into them later on. I came in 1989 to Canada with my wife and a 2-year-old daughter. And life over here was no different than what you all have gone through, which was that my initial job was picking fruits from the farms, security guard, making pizzas. And let me assure you, it's not a commercial for Domino's Pizza, but I did make damn good pizzas in those days. But life changed after that, and I started my healthcare career. My first degree I got from Marston University in nursing, and I served in public health downtown and Hamilton Psychiatric Hospital, St. Joe's Hospital, and wrote the policies and procedures for the Sunnybrook Hospital when the 3 hospitals amalgamated. And then I kept moving up the food chain. And God is good. This country is great. Those who came before me, I'm so grateful to them for giving me this opportunity that I was able to work hard and move forward. So today, I'm here before you asking for your vote because my values and your values, they don't differ. Conservative values are the same. We all believe in hard work, responsibility for your families, taking care of your neighbors. For businessmen, you are hard-working business people. And Government of Canada, Conservative Party wants to make sure that you keep your money in your pockets. Thank you very much, and please vote for me.
I think the microphone was off.
You could have used that, sorry about that. I'll write your prescription for antibiotics afterwards. Okay, Hamilton West, Ancaster Dundas, Liberal, Philomena Tassi.
Thank you. I wish to thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening and to speak with you and spend some time with you. I echo the comments of my colleagues every time I come to the mosque. I'm grateful for the warm reception that I receive. I'd like to begin with a little bit of my background because I think it'll give you insight into the values that I possess as a person. I was born in the North End, the daughter of a steelworker, so I know what hard work and commitment is all about, as you do. I love this city, and I'm proud to call myself a Hamiltonian. I'm not a stranger to politics. I ran provincially in '95, and I've served as a school board trustee. In fact, my earliest memory is one of my father and I putting up signs, and that goes back over 40 years ago. I was fortunate to have a family that gave me a phenomenal grounding for this position. My parents demonstrated their faith in each and every act. It would not be unheard of for me to come home and find a stranger at our dining room table or be told that someone was staying the night because they had nowhere else to go. I learned that each person has a story, and these stories are important, and each person is valuable. My work in chaplaincy has added to this experience. So for the past 20 years, I've worked on the front lines with youth and their families. And yes, we face some pretty tough issues. Bullying, suicide, criminal charges, The list goes on and on. But I consider myself fortunate to have been able to work with these youth and their families, and I've learned a great deal from it. Our youth possess a great resilience and a great passion for justice. Prior to having my family, I practiced law for 6 years. I left the practice when we began our family, my husband and I. We have lived in the riding for 20 years. It's the riding where I have raised my 2 beautiful children and have many wonderful memories on soccer fields, baseball diamonds, hockey arenas. When I went to Ottawa for my candidates training, I was fortunate to meet Justin Trudeau, and he impressed me with his commitment to service. One of the first things he said was the role of an MP is a role of service. When I heard that, I knew I was in the right place. I felt at home. The Liberal Party has always been a party of human rights and diversity. Pierre Elliott Trudeau passed the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in 1982.
30 seconds.
Lester B. Pearson created the peacekeeping movement. The Liberal Party believes we are an open and generous country and that we are strong because of our diversity, not in spite of us. You can always be sure the Liberal Party will always protect religious and cultural minorities and make sure that all Canadians can realize their potential. Thank you very much.
I'd like to please welcome NDP candidate Alex Johnstone.
Good evening. It's absolutely wonderful to be here. There's so many faces and friends that I recognize here tonight. I'm a public school board trustee, twice elected, and I'm also the vice chair of the Hamilton Wentworth District School Board. And in that capacity, I have been welcomed here to the Hamilton Mountain Mosque every year since 2010 to join you to break the fast during Ramadan. And I have to say that I've never felt more welcomed by a community before. And some of the things I really would like to speak with you tonight is about the NDP and is about our principles and values. And that not only do we talk the talk, but that we very much walk the walk. As has been highlighted by some of my other colleagues here tonight, NDP voted against Bill C-51. I think that's incredibly important. And it is important to highlight too that on February 19th, Tom Mulcair did vote against it, and unfortunately if you go back into open parliament, you will note that Justin Trudeau did abstain from the vote. I think that it's important that if you're going to stand up and preach and say that you believe in something, that you need to put action behind your words. Exactly. NDP also voted against Barbaric Cultural Practices Act. This is an act that it's completely based on the politics of division. Did you know that the Conservatives have actually said that they're creating a tip line and that our neighbors are tweeting out on social media reporting what they believe to be barbaric cultural practices? This isn't the way that you protect women. This is not the way that you protect individuals in our society. If the Conservatives were serious about protecting women's rights, they wouldn't have cut the funding for the Status of Women Committee in their very first year. About protecting women's rights, they would be investing in shelters and not taking away funding like they did right here in Hamilton this past spring for Healing the Circle transitional shelter for Aboriginal women. And if they were serious about protecting women's rights, they would be working with community groups, such as the wonderful youth right here at Hamilton Mountain Mosque, who started a food bank, their own initiative. Young women as young as 17, 15 years old, to provide halal food to the community. That is leadership. I think that Prime Minister Harper could certainly take a leadership lesson from some of the young women right here. I do want to wrap up, finally, I do want to state that the NDP is interested in removing the cap on family reunification. And certainly as my grandfather came here to Hamilton with my father, and shortly thereafter my great-grandparents came over. Why? To help raise my father and his siblings. So thank you very much. The words of Jacqueline, in order to have the candidate you want, you have to vote for the candidate you want, so vote NDP. Thank you.
Hamilton West Manifesto Dundas Green Party, Peter Ormond. Peter Ormond?
He's not here.
He's not here. Okay. Okay, we're moving on to Flamborough-Glenbrook. I would invite you to welcome, please welcome Conservative David Sweet.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much to the leadership for the opportunity. I was making some notes back there, so I just thought I would spend my time trying to set the record straight. Before we were elected, there was no foreign credentials recognition office. Just want to make that clear. Before we were elected, there was no 10-year super visa. Before we were elected, the backup in immigration was 800,000 people, and there was no end in sight in meeting that backup. Before we were elected, there was no ambassador for religious freedom. Before we were elected, there was no fund for places of worship to apply to add security, like you could right here, to make sure that if you feel that you're at risk, you could put a system in place to secure your facility. Also, you can be proud as a Canadian to know that per capita, we take more United Nations High Commission refugees than any other country. Also, I just heard some comments about youth, and before we were elected, youth organizations like Liberty for Youth, Living Rock, and Threshold School of Building downtown weren't receiving any funding. So, what have I built my record on here in Hamilton? To try and fight for the city for strategic investments. All you need to do is walk around the city and you can see them. McMaster Innovation Park, we moved a Canmet Mineralogical Lab from Ottawa and brought it here for research and development. Across the road, McMaster Automotive Research Center. We took the best PhD in alternative energy, brought him here to Canada, and he's in McMaster Innovation Park, researching now with companies like Tesla, Chrysler, Ford, etc., to make sure that right here in Hamilton, the best alternative energy technology is created. We've set aside funding for Randall Reef. You should see barges in the water very soon to begin that project. The #1 toxic hotspot in Lake Ontario was ignored for 2 decades, finally going to be cleaned up, and we're going to get Hamilton off the list and attract more people here and create a better waterfront. And just before the election was called, I was proud that we were able to give, well, for $1, the city of Hamilton what used to be the Marine Discovery Center, that whole tract of property, so that now they're much freer to develop the whole waterfront and be able to grow that for your families, for our families, and development that will add to the tax base and hopefully save some taxes. Mr. Duval, that'd be great, wouldn't it? To save the tax base some money. And we made investments in Hamilton Airport, the #1 cargo airport in the country, is now even more able to facilitate the movement of cargo and create more jobs. Thank you very much. So finally, let me say this to you. I think families are very important to you, like the Army. I have 6 children, 4 grandchildren. Well, the 4th is on its way. And the universal child care benefit we will sustain. We will make sure that income splitting for families is sustained, so those who are single earners can split their income and make sure that they have a spouse at home to look after their kids. And we'll continue with pension income splitting as well for seniors. So you can expect from myself that I'll continue to fight for Hamiltonians and all Canadians. God bless you and God bless Canada.
Glenbrook, Liberal MP, sorry. Liberal candidate Jennifer Stimming.
I'm Jennifer Stimming, and I am your federal Liberal candidate for Flamborough-Glenbrook, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. As I've been happy to visit this box on many occasions whenever you've had the kindest feelings to invite me. I do enjoy coming here and listening to you speak. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself tonight. I do come from an immigrant family. My father immigrated here in his early 20s for better jobs and for a better life, and he did that. And he started his family here with my mother and has given my brother and I absolutely everything, which I know from speaking with you is what you do with your kids too. My dad didn't know how to say no if it was something that could get me farther in my life, and you're the same way. My husband is also an immigrant, and I'm happy that Canada is the way it is, but what I'm very, very unhappy about is the way Canada is now making it a two-tier citizenship system. Citizenship is citizenship. You grant it, it's yours forever. We cannot take it away. I don't care how much the Conservatives think the money they're going to save me with their tax cuts. If you can take my husband's citizenship away, I want nothing to do with you. And that's what matters. And while we're talking about saving you money, we are keeping pension income splitting for seniors. We are getting rid of the other income splitting so that we can give families more money for their children and give the middle class a tax cut that they desperately need. Our plan will take 315,000 children out of poverty. That is what's important. God willing, on October 19th, I'll be your MP for Flamborough-Glanbrook. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The NDP candidate for Flamborough-Glanbrook is Mike DeLivio.
First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Khan for moderating and having us here. I'd also like to thank the Islamic School for Hamilton for providing the venue and doing a good job. Lastly, I want to thank everybody for coming out. We've got a great turnout. Give yourselves a clap. The first thing I do when I look around this room, I see a room full of great Canadians that are ready to be informed with their next political decision. You guys should be proud of that. There are a lot of people out there that aren't caring about what's going on. And thank you for taking the time to come out and listen to us to speak. This election is about a lot of different things. Childcare, healthcare, seniors, families, children, religious differences. But I mean, what it is not about is fear and division. Kneecap is a piece of religious apparel. It's a woman's right to wear what she wants, whether she's Muslim, whether she's Catholic, or any other religion. And you women should be proud of this. I mean, we've heard everything from all the candidates, and thank you for coming out and being informed. It's always hard coming after everybody else. They've done such a great job. Fall is soon upon us, and with fall comes great change. Change by getting the Harper government out because they've done nothing for us. They've made it harder for people to get a job. They're not really cutting their taxes, and they've made fear politics a major issue when it isn't. You're just part of the community like everybody else. I come from an immigrant family as well. My father came from Italy to escape the war and everything else when he was a teenager. It wasn't bad over there. Canada always has been multicultural. Whether it's the first wave, people coming from Europe, and then it expanded. We have people from every nation here. We all should be proud where we come from. It's what makes Canada great. I mean, we've got so many things that the NDP is trying to make sure that we have for you. Pharmacare, to reduce our cost of medication. We want to have $100 million to create jobs, 40,000 of which is going to go to our youth. We have 40 million innovation tax credit so that businesses can expand and hire more workers and make themselves more effective. We've got money we're allocating for seniors to increase the GIS. We're going to increase the CPP, which is your Canada Pension Plan. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me which party you should be backing, and it's the NDP. Thank you very much.
Before I introduce the last candidate, I would ask all the candidates that are here to meet on the stage for a group photograph. We'd like to have a group photograph. We'll be publishing it in our newsletter called the Muslim Association Hamilton Reflections, of which I am the editor. So make sure you show up here. Okay? So I'm going to put a nasty little plug in for that. So Green Party candidate for Flamborough-Glanbrook is David Urquhart. Well, please welcome David.
my name's Dave Urquhart. I'm a retired steel worker. And I think we've heard, since I'm the last guy tonight, we've heard what each of us will do and what we have done. And that's what we hear every election. And this is the reason that I'm running at 55 years old. Because you hear it over and over again. This one's going to do that. That one's going to do this. The other one has done all of this stuff. But currently, our democracy is being stolen from us, and our environment is being trashed. I heard someone talk about classes. Who's doing it? Well, let me tell you, it's a class. And the class is the billionaires, the bankers, and the corporate elite. Stealing from us is what they're doing. Our democracy and trashing our environment. So let me start by talking about our values. Because the Green Party doesn't go from election to election doing what they think people will want. We operate off of values. And those values are ecological wisdom, nonviolence, sustainability, respect for diversity, social justice, and participatory democracy. Yes, the Green Party is a grassroots democratic party, from the ground up, from the people, for the people. If you want parties that do as they're told by their corporate masters, you have plenty of choices. Our policy, in a nutshell, revolves around the common good. Everyone knows Elizabeth May. She spent her entire career in pursuit of the common good, from fighting against toxic spraying for the spruce budworm in her early 20s, to leading
30 seconds.
To leading the Sierra Club, to now the Green Party. We're the only party with a policy of no whip votes, a party where we are required to work across party lines, serving the best interests of those who are most important, the people who elect us. That is exactly what I will do on every single issue. Represent the common good of the people and their environment.
Thank you very much for your patience and for standing for 45 minutes. Could I ask the candidates to please come up to the stage for a photograph? And then afterwards, our community will like to mingle with you and ask questions. Thank you.